Stay tuned for the Joan Quinn Profiles. Joan served the state of California as a member on the Arts Council and on the Film Commission. She was formerly on the Architectural Commission and fulfilled 2 terms on the Fine Arts Commission for the city of Beverly Hills. As an editor for Andy Warhol's Interview magazine, Condé Nast Publications, and the Hearst Corporation, Joan covered the world of fashion, the mysteries of food, the excitement of theater, and the international art scene. She continues to find people who are on the cutting edge of their professions. Here's Joan Agajanian Quinn.
Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here on location in the historic Max Factor building, which is the home of the Hollywood Museum on Highland Avenue in Hollywood. Our friend Donnell Dadigan invited all of us to come to the museum and is inviting all of you to come to and see what is on view. Our guests today are novelist Rex Pickett and actor Bill Brochtrup. Author, playwright, director, Rex Pickett was born and raised in California. He graduated from UC San Diego. He went on to USC Graduate School for a year, then started making films, writing and directing, garnering awards, garnering films. One of his big things was Sideways, the novel. Of course, that was made into an award-winning, many award-winning things. And now you're at the Ruskin Group doing it as a play.
That's right. Yeah.
And how, do you take it from the movie? Do you take it from the novel? How does it get to be a play?
Well, for both legal and creative reasons, it was taken from the novel. It's for legal reasons, I can't use anything in the movie that wasn't in the novel, but there was very little that I wanted to use. The adaptation was done by the director Alexander Payne and his writing partner Jim Taylor. But when I went back, when I was approached by a Ruskin Group over a year and a half ago to do it, I went back and read my novel and found that it was such a dialogue-driven novel that it really lent itself to being a play. And so I went back. So the play is really a pure distillation of my novel, is the best way to phrase it.
So will it sound anything like the movie?
Well, it'll sound like it. I mean, there are a lot of, as I said, the screenplay and the film are very faithful to my novel.
Oh, so right.
And so naturally, by being very faithful, I wanted to, I was going to use some things, but we tried to steer it here. We didn't want the play to be the greatest hits of the movie, which it could have been, because those are all my scenes for the most part in there. We wanted it to be a different experience, but it's still Miles and Jack on their transgressive journey en route to a wedding during 1 week through one country.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you. Is the story still the same?
Of course it is, yes.
And how did you cast it?
Well, I mean, we, once we went through many drafts to get the novel down to a play, and then they went out with breakdowns and, and cast their net. This is just equity waiver. This is the developmental stage of the play. And we went out to, because it's only a 50-seat house, it's equity waiver. And they went out and, a lot of very fine actors came out, and we went through an audition process like you would with any play, and then there were callbacks, and then we made our decisions. It's really
And how many people are in the play?
8.
So are you directing?
No. It was directed by Amelia Mulkey, who is a young woman. She's only 30 years old, and she did a terrific job.
Did you want to direct?
No.
What about?
I mean, part of the thing is that as a writer, especially given that the novel was written in 1998, that as a director, you have to sit there and listen to your lines over and over and over again. I think as a writer, director in theater, there are a lot of them. There's no question about it. I don't really want to have to hear my lines over and over and over again because I'm going to be inclined to change them and screw with things that I don't really want to screw with. I wouldn't. And obviously, I'm not even really talented. My talent lies in storytelling, in writing. I do have a lot of ability. I've also written and directed a few features, so I have worked with actors. But that pure ability to work with actors or to stage a play on a stage, that is a skill in itself. For instance, the play has 23 scenes in it, but in the play it says, lights go down, lights come up. Well, we couldn't do that in the play because it would just black out 22 times. So that's something the transitions, Amelia did those, and I could have come up with transitions, I'm sure, if I wanted. But I enjoy my sleep at night, and so therefore, being a theater director would.
But how do you feel when you see? Do you compare the two? Are you comparing the play with the movie?
No.
You're not.
No, not at all.
So
in fact, if anything, we want the play to distinguish itself and be as differentiated from the movie as possible. But it's still Miles and Jack and Maya and Tara, and there are differences. But as a very, very well-known person who's a huge fan of the movie said, but he's a very well-known theater person, said, and he's only read the script. He's coming this week, but he said that the play was richer and more emotionally complex than the movie. And I've had people come out, and bear in mind, I love the movie. There would be no play without the movie. Let me go on record as saying Alexander Payne is a genius. But he has his slant, and this slant is a little different. I think Jack in the movie is much more of a remorseless, sex-crazed Terminator. Here he still is doing his transgressive things that women don't really.
But you like him anyway.
You like him, but I think in the play you like him even more. And a lot of credit goes to your next guest, Jonathan Bray. He does a fantastic job bringing such heart and warmth. But also bear in mind the characters are stepping out of this two-dimensional reality almost into your living room. So there is a little bit more heart there, I think. With Miles, who's closer to me, because the book was written in first person from the standpoint of Miles, you had a character in the movie as played by Giamatti brilliantly, but he was kind of dyspeptic and self-annihilating. And stuff. No, Miles is probably closer to somebody like me. He's kind of dancing on the edge. He's a funny guy, but he's still self-deprecating. He's still sort of suicidal in some
ways.
Was
he you?
Well, of course, yeah. I mean, it was written in first person from the standpoint of Miles, but you'd have to read the book to get the real Miles, because again, I love the movie. It's just a bit of a slant. Making him a school teacher was a change that they made. He's not really a school teacher. He's an out-of-work writer waiting on...
Which is...
which is what I was at that time. So the differences they're subtle. They're significant to me. To an audience, maybe less.
Well, that's the next question. To the audience, how difficult do you think it's going to engage the audience? Because most people will have seen the film, and they're going to come out of curiosity or to see what your slant is. You have to engage them with a different kind of take.
Well, first of all, they're not coming just out of curiosity. They're also coming because we're getting great reviews, and we just won 8 Cine Awards, and it's a fantastic production that Ruskin Group and Amelia Mulkey and our actors Jonathan Bray and John Colell have done. I mean, they've done a great job. I think what they're getting is, to quote the famous director whose name I won't mention, is in some ways it is a kind of a richer experience. I mean, you get the same story, but I mean, how many times can you see the DVD? And there are people who've seen it 50, 100 times.
Yes.
I think that what they're getting is it fills in the gaps a lot that was in the movie. That obviously when you adapt a book for a movie, you're going to lose a lot of things.
Yeah.
The play brings a lot of those things back in some ways.
You get some backstory.
You get more.
Don't you?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's really different, Joan. Is a woman said to me about 3 weeks ago at the end of the play, she came out, was a huge fan of it, and of my new book, Vertical, which is a sequel to Sideways, and she said, Rex, you've written an epic love story. Did you know that? I go, what are you talking about? I'm into the bromance, not to use a horrible portmanteau word. And she said, no, you've written an epic love story. And it's true that Maya, in the Virginia Madsen character, in the play, her and Miles, their romance is, there are more scenes with them. There's more dialogue with them. It cuts much deeper. And there's a scene I won't give away that involves something, a little bit of a betrayal on her part that's not in the movie, that makes their thing much richer, and the ending is more redemptive than it is in the movie. So I think there's a lot. The interrelationships are much more complex.
You have a wine tasting?
Of course.
Do you do it before or after?
No. We do it before. You come in. This is the best kept secret in all of LA. I'm
telling it.
We're in our. You're welcome to. We're in our 20th sold out week. We're in our 4th extension. We only are 3 times a week. We have poured over $50,000 worth of wine. It is
You're kidding?
Yes, over 50,000. But that's retail by the bottle. If you were to go by the glass, over $100,000 worth of wine for free. You walk in a beautiful glass. We pour you, and we pour liberally. We pour profligately. And often I'm the one pouring. I'm not.
So you're there greeting the audience.
Well, the first 12 weeks we had the winemakers come down because Sideways the movie did so much for wine in the wine world. I mean, it did so much. We don't need to go on about that. So they came down, but as the play got extended, it was hard to keep getting the wine. So I've been calling in favors, and I'll be there pouring because I enjoy it. I love it. I mean, people come out, and we'll pour before an hour before. They can go in and drink during the play, and we pour some more at intermission. Then we have to shut it down.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Well, one night we poured a little too much, and 2 people fell asleep or snoring in the second act. So we had to bottle back a little bit.
Tell me where the Ruskin Group, where the theater is. It's at the old not the old airport, Santa Monica.
It's in Santa Monica, 3000 Airport Avenue. It abuts the south end of the Santa Monica Airport, just west of the 405.
And it's so great because the parking's easy. Everything's easy there.
There's so much parking there. We have double the parking we need. In fact, had I been approached to do the play east of the 405, because I live in Santa Monica, I would have turned them down.
You talked about 2 films that you made, California Without Exit and From Hollywood to Deadwood.
California Without End.
Without End.
But maybe I should have changed it Without Exit.
Well, I was thinking of what's his name's Exit. I forget.
Exit, Last Exit.
Yeah, Last Exit. That's right, California on the Last Exit. But talking about that, he also taught at USC. Did you? Were you upset about leaving SC as a graduate?
No, I came to go to USC. They had graduate students in with undergraduates. I didn't know that until I got up here. Maybe I should have researched it. I'd already made film, so I didn't like the program at all. It was very autocratic. It was run like a little mini film studio. So I left and then went on and made my own feature film. I think when you go to film school, honestly, they should give you the luxury to make and fail at whatever. But USC doesn't treat it that way.
No, because they have their own way.
They're
a film school.
Yeah.
And one other thing that you mentioned was the sequel play, Vertical.
Sequel novel.
Sequel novel.
But it might be a play. But it might be a play. I've had people. Well, I mean, we have a sequel novel. I've already done the screenplay adaptation, but Fox Searchlight owns the rights. Alexander Payne doesn't want to do it, so they won't approach him. So it's kind of
So could you make the film? Could you do a film?
No.
Why?
No, because Fox Searchlight owns the film
rights.
But
I mean, would they call you in to do it?
No. Fox Searchlight owns the rights, and they're not going to do anything without Alexander Payne. He's that powerful, and it's a non-starter for them. Look, this is the number one question I have to ask, so I'm not trying to be short here, but it is the biggest no-brainer in Hollywood. We're living in a day and age of franchises and reboots and brands and whatever. This is a huge brand, Sideways. Everyone, I mean, so many people know that film. They feel like it's like it came out yesterday.
That's what I mean.
And you know what, Joan? It came out almost 8 years ago, and look. The bottom line is the play is giving, it's actually bringing new life to the movie and to the love of the movie, but it doesn't just give you, like I say, the greatest hits. It gives you a new experience of it in a wonderful way, and yet people remember it like, they don't make films like Sideways today.
I know. That's what was so
human
great.
Comedies. But all we're getting is this CGI video gaming garbage,
But they didn't make it then either. That's why it was so great.
It was. Thank you.
And do you think that your play will play all over the country? Is that what you have in mind?
Yeah, it's going to go really. It's going to go really big. It's. If it were a month from now, I could probably make an announcement, but I can't make it right now.
Good.
But the truth is, it's. I just signed with a big theatrical touring agent, and it's going to go.
So we all have to see it in LA right now.
Well, what a great opportunity. We may not be able to replicate the wine tasting part of it. I mean, I've said many times, Joan, it's only $25 for a ticket there. You could come in and drink and go home and you would break even. It's that good.
Thanks, Rex.
You're welcome.
Thank you for watching. We'll be right back with actor Bill Brochtrup. Hi, I'm Joan Quinn, and welcome back to the Joan Quinn Profiles. We're here at the Hollywood Museum in the historic Max Factor building. Bill Brochtrup, I said it right.
Well done, well done.
Was born in Inglewood, California, and raised in Tacoma, Washington. He graduated from NYU's Tisch School of Arts. You've seen him on some of the great stages across the U.S., numerous feature films, and on TV shows as varied as Dexter and PBS's In the Life. He's John the AA on NYPD Blues, and he's also on Showtime's Shameless. Bill is a part of the Antaeus Company in Los Angeles, and what did you do after you went to NYU?
Well, it's incorrect. I did not graduate from NYU. I kind of left. I was there. I was at the Tisch School. I'd come from Seattle, from Tacoma, to go there, and partway through my junior year, I don't know, I hit kind of a wall of depression, I think. I went back to Seattle.
But that's such a great theater town. Is that what happened?
I went back, and it turned out to kind of a happy story. I got my equity card, I got my SAG card, all those things while I was up in Seattle.
Yeah, it is. It's a fantastic place. It was kind of like your training ground then, was it?
It was a great place. It was a great place. At that time, that was in the mid-'80s. There were a lot of people moving there just for the theater because there was an abundance of equity theaters there. So I kind of caught that wave at the right time. And
I remember the first time I ever heard about Wagner's Ring. They were doing it in Seattle. I really didn't even know much about it. So
it was a well-kept secret, Seattle, for a long time. It was a kind of a, people think it's rainy and gray, and we like people to think that so they don't come.
But the theaters are great.
It's a wonderful theater town, very artistic. It's a very vibrant and exciting community there.
So what were you doing? Acting? Doing theater?
Yeah, I was acting there. I was doing theater there. And I got my SAG card there. I did a guest star on a TV show that happened to be filming up there.
Oh,
so
that was
everything
lucky.
kind of worked out very well. And I was always planning to go back to NYU. And instead, by that time, I'd had friends who had moved down to LA and were like, you should come down here. And
I was wondering what brought you.
I sort of ended up doing it.
What brought you to Hollywood?
You know, I never really thought that I would come here. I was born here. My parents were born here, and my grandparents lived here in the 20s. So it's kind of a long Los Angeles family.
Right.
But
and no one knows Inglewood.
Well,
they know,
no.
like LAX is in Inglewood.
Yeah, the first house we lived in when I was a kid was in Westchester, right by the
Westchester.
airport. I always thought I would end up back in New York, but I came here and things started going well. And I got involved in the theater scene here and was surprised to find how vibrant that is.
Well, that's a well-kept secret, too. That's why we keep doing this show, to bring people the knowledge of knowing that there's little theaters all over the city.
And that's what happened. I fell into that world, and I saw the committed, exciting work that was going on here. And it was from that work in the theater that kind of led me to work on television and films. And then I was able to come back to work in the theater.
That's what I was going to ask you. Did that stage work help you in your films?
In every regard. One, in the fact that it's just good training. It's good to keep working on things. And I think we probably all agree that the best actors in the world are those who work on the stage.
But you write a lot too, don't you? You've written essays and Uncabaret.
Yeah, I started writing sort of personal essays. I guess David Sedaris-esque kind of personal essays.
But where were you putting them then? Oh, in magazines probably.
In magazines, and there's a whole spoken word circuit, Sit and Spin, Rant and Rave, all the Spark Off Rose. Do you know these?
Yeah, Sit and Spin. I was just talking about that the other day. That's interesting. So you could read. You read there.
Yeah, you read and write them. The Moth, those kind of storytelling venues. There's a lot of them very popular now. So I've been doing that too.
And then you also hosted a lot of events. How did that happen?
Well, when I was working on NYPD Blue, we had a lot of exposure to policemen and military people, of course. And so I was able to do a lot of stuff with the USO and the Armed Forces Entertainment around the world. And then
so that came because of your acting?
Directly from NYPD Blue, yeah. And also then I was able to host AIDS walks and things like that across the country because as a sort of openly gay actor, there weren't so many. So did you go
across the country and host things?
I have hosted things in all across the country. And
talk a little bit about your character on NYPD. I said AA, administrative assistant.
Yes, it's a PAA. It's a public administrative assistant. He was an openly gay character at a time when there were not very many of those, and came on, I think, to be a thorn in the side of Sipowicz, played by Dennis Franz.
Right.
And we sort of didn't get along for a long time, and so over the course of the 12 years the show was on, and I was there for 10 myself. those characters became friends, and eventually I started babysitting for his son, and then I officiated his wedding. Yes, the characters started to become close, where at the beginning we didn't get along.
But the audience also starts to love you. I mean, they expect to have the relationship with you too. From there, and from hosting, and from all your writing, you became part of the Antaeus group.
Yeah, and
which is what, a company?
It's a company of classical theater actors here in Los Angeles. It's a wonderful group. And most of the actors that we have are working in film and television all the time. But at the end of the day, they want to come back to where their heart is, and that's in the classical theater.
Which is just what you were talking about.
Exactly. And so our members are constantly going here and there to New York, or working at South Coast and the Taper and all the theaters around town, but they get to come home to work at Antaeus.
And where is home? Is is there a theater,
yes,
or do you do in different theaters?
We're located now in the NoHo Arts District on Lankershim Boulevard. We have a theater there. We start Tech tonight for You Can't Take It With You.
Oh, yes, you're going to talk about that. But one of the things you do as a group are staged readings.
We have a long process work. All of our projects they're initiated by a member, just a project they may want to work on for whatever reason.
Oh, that's
Shakespeare or Greeks or whatever they want to do. And from those, we sit around the library. We have a big library with a big, huge table at it. We sit around and read those, and the ones that people get excited about, we rehearse more, and then eventually we have a Classics Fest. It's a series of readings.
Yes, and then
that's coming
up.
The
audience comes to that.
Audiences come and see those works in progress, where we are, what kind of things we're working on.
Do you sit at a table the same way?
No, those are staged readings in the theater, but just with music stands, very simple, just to be heard. And from those projects, we do about 18 of those a year.
Wow.
And from those, we choose a season of 3 plays
to
do in a full season.
That feeds into
That feeds in.
Oh,
so last year, You Can't Take It With You was one of the more popular plays in the Classics Fest, and now we're going to do a full production.
So somebody suggested You Can't Take It With You. You sat around and read it, and everyone...
People liked it. People said, wow, this is more timely than I knew. You know, it's an old chestnut.
From the 30s, right?
From the 30s, Kaufman and Hart, and a thing that you think, oh, a lot of high schools do it, everyone knows it. We read it and thought, wow, there's really something more here than we remembered.
Oh, so then it was chosen
people
to
got
be
excited.
Part of the season?
Full season, yeah.
I see. You have 3 artistic directors, one of which is you.
Yes, I'm one of the co-artistic directors. Rob Nagel and John Sloan are the others.
And what do you guys do? I mean, why do you need 3?
Oh my gosh, you need 10.
Oh.
There's so much to be done. We have an academy, so we train the next generation of classical actors. So we're running classes all the time, so we oversee that. I don't teach that. I don't do that. I sit in with the classes, but that's one of the jobs one of the other guys takes on. We call ourselves a Hydra, named after a mythological 3-headed monster.
Is that what it is?
That's what it feels like. Yes.
I see.
That's what it feels like.
But you also do double booking. What is that about?
We call it partner casting.
Oh,
and so all of our shows,
double booking, partner casting.
What we do is, because the members of the company are busy getting jobs, and actors have to make a living in this town, and the television and film work is able to support that living, people doing television series, commercials, whatever.
Oh, I see.
So we do 2 full casts. So You Can't Take It With You. We'll have 2 complete casts that rehearse together. And then on different nights, they mix up in different configurations.
How do they play against each other?
It's very exciting. It's very exciting. You often don't know who you're going on with until you arrive that day. And you show up at the theater and say, oh, gosh, it's you. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
I know, but then does it change the dynamic of the play?
Yes, in an interesting way, I hope. Audiences can come and see on consecutive nights. They can see both different casts. You can see how, with the same costumes, with the same set, with the same script, different actor choices can completely skew the play into different areas.
What happens? Does the director come in and give notes that day again?
Yeah, the director. We start off working all together, sort of like tag team. It's we just pop in and out with each other. And then as we come into Tech, where we are now on this one, we now split into 2 casts. They work together during previews and opening night to kind of gel together.
So there's 2 separate casts.
There's now 2 separate casts.
Okay.
And once we open, they'll start mixing back up again.
Is that right? And what if they don't have jobs? What if they're just there? Do they still get to go on stage?
Yes, we have a schedule, so you alternate with your partner every night.
You do.
You alternate.
You do.
You alternate. So
And what
there's a
kind
full
of training
schedule.
did they have to have?
To be in the shows here? Well,
This, no, and you can't take it with you.
Oh, well, gosh, we've had people, well, for You Can't Take It With You, there's been some specific things. There's a ballet dancer who's going to be on point. We've had a guy who's been playing the, what's it called?
Oh, the xylophone.
The xylophone.
Oh,
He's been
that's what
practicing
I
for
meant.
months, the xylophone.
I thought you had some special needs.
There are some special needs going on, exactly. Plus, it's a huge cast, and it's doubled. And we do a lot of big cast plays at Antioch, so that people get a chance to see plays that we did Peace in Our Time, an old coward play that had 40 people in it.
But how big is the stage? These
Small.
are small.
Small.
Where did they come? From the back, from the front, from the sides?
Yes, from everywhere. But we've got 3 entrances in the theater we're in now, so they come from all of them. And it's very exciting. This is what I loved about theater in Los Angeles when I started, and I think this is the best kept secret about it, is you get to see wonderful actors in tiny little rooms on very small stages up close.
Really up close.
You don't get to see that in New York.
But what happens to you? Do you see me when I'm sitting in the front row? Because sometimes there's not even a stage or on the same level.
Sometimes that's true. In our theater, people are pretty I mean, there are actors about as close as you and I are now.
Do you see me?
Well, I'll tell you,
Or are
I
you
don't wear my
concentrating?
glasses, so everyone's a little blurry.
Oh, that's good.
And the lights help. Sometimes you can see people a little bit and can be a little distracting.
That's what I wondered. Yeah,
but
you have to really focus.
concentrate. You really just focus, and I think we're all kind of used to that now. I don't like it when my family came to see Peace in Our Time, an old coward show, and I was in that one and ended up sitting right in the front row. It was very distracting. I kept looking at my niece and nephew thinking like, God, this is nerve-wracking, but
But
they
see,
didn't
that's
realize.
always in the back of your mind.
Yeah, it was in the back of
isn't
my
it,
mind
that you
during
know
that show.
who's there and what's going on. Where are we going to see Bill Brochtrup? Did I say it right?
Yes, you're a champ.
Brochtrup. Where are we going to see him next?
Right now I'm in the middle of filming a little guest arc on Showtime's Shameless.
Oh, you are?
So
Tell us about that character.
I'm a co-worker of Emmy Rossum's on the show, and we're in the middle of filming that now. That'll be for their 3rd season. It'll start on Showtime in January of 2013.
So how long is the part?
We don't know yet. We're hoping. I would love for it to continue, but right now it's a few episodes.
It's a few episodes. So, but how long does it take you to do it?
They film 7 days for each episode.
Oh, so are you on set for 7 days?
No.
Oh, that's what
It
I
just
mean, for
depends
you.
who's needed. Just depends on what's needed in the script. A couple days here and there to do this.
And then you do the costuming and makeup all ahead of time, and then you come in when you're
the
called?
wardrobe before on television. You go in for a little consult with the kind wardrobe people, and then the makeup, everything's done. The long hours that they keep on television. The funny thing is, I was up at 4 a.m. The other morning to film that, and then the theater, we work late, so it's a completely opposite schedule. Very, very opposite schedule. So tonight I'll be at the tech of, overseeing the tech of You Can't Take It With You until who knows 2 in the morning, I hope tonight.
Oh, it could be till all night?
Well, tech in the theater can go long, yes.
So the tech is, tell our audience, tech is lights?
Getting the lights ready, getting the sound ready, getting the wardrobe ready, figuring out, hey, we thought the actors were going to be able to walk through this door, and now it still doesn't quite work backstage, and where are these props supposed to be put, and all those minutiae of the technical elements.
Is it a walkthrough with the actors?
At the tech,
As then
the
you
tech is generally it's for the lighting people and the sound people to say,
Right.
wow, these cues need to go here,
I see.
and the lights need to turn on there, and we need a sound cue at this moment, and the doorbell should ring here, and those kind of things, just to get all those little technical elements
And
ready.
who does it all? The director?
The designers will be there doing that, and the director, poor
Who
thing,
is the
will
director?
be Gigi Birmingham, who is a wonderful actress in our company, and this is, I think, her first full-length play she's directing, so
Wow.
we're very excited to be having an actor from the company directing the members of the company.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching the Joan Quinn Profiles, and we'll see you next time.